And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And to build up thy wall. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13. And the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to, we had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the sole of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breasts of kings, meaning you're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence will be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be in power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up to put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, The 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction, the 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there, pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. All right. What I want to get into, this morning news and prophecy, dealing with the proud, small hat and speaking out, because this word, first and foremost, beginning with this word, this devil is exposed, and for the longest, the small hats have enjoyed, the privilege, of playing the victims. Okay, they've been enjoying the privilege of being looked at as the chosen superior people in the earth. So everything that they did was justified because they were just the chosen people defending themselves, man. But there's truth, all right, is becoming, more known in the earth. All right, the outlook, the perception, dealing with these small hats has completely changed. To where now people understand that these are the people that's in all the chief positions of the earth. They run society. They run the entertainment, they run the banking, okay? They run the media, you see, the music industry, okay? All the big major corporations, the tech corporations, okay? Politicians, these different governments are all controlled, by these small hat, entities. So it's like these people run the earth. So how could they be the victim of anything? All the wealth, trickles to them in these corporations. Okay, the small hat is the biggest welfare state in the world. They get all this aid, from across the world, especially from here in America, and they're responsible for the wickedness of the planet Earth. They set the tone for the wickedness in the earth, man. Okay, so now that they're being called out, now they don't have, the luxury to play the victim anymore. All right, now we finna see them, begin to show their true colors, man. Which because you have Esau, which is the wicked, but amongst Esau you have Amalek, which is the worst of the worst. Okay, which is just a bloodthirsty, violent, sick, sadistic, all right, group of people, man. And as they're being called out, matter of fact, let's go here, because you go into the wisdom of Solomon, it goes to the mind, the inner thinking of these Edomites, man. How these Edomites truly feel and their reasoning in these times. This is how when you read Wisdom of Solomon too, we bring it out often, but this is how these devils, are this is how they're reasoning right now in real time. Okay, so when you go to the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 10, it says, will oppress the poor, even if they are righteous, will show no respect for widows or old people. Okay, and these small hats, they embody this, man. Okay, and you see how they wage continual war, all right, in their region, and they don't care about killing civilians. You know, they don't mind killing tens of thousands of civilians just because they have the power to do it, which we're going to it's going to go into it. You see, these devils, they live off, all right, a doctrine of might makes right. It doesn't matter how wicked it is, the fact that they're strong enough to pull it off, that makes them right. Okay? That's why you read verse 11 says, we'll call ourselves right if we are strong enough to get what we want. So if they're strong enough to pull a thing off, okay, if they're able to just slaughter with no resistance, well, they're right. Just based on the fact that they're able to do it, they're justified. You know, and they've been doing this ever since they came back into power. You know, when these devils went forth, especially when they came over here to the New Worlds and began to take down the tribes through great robbery, murder, war, and they feel, well, if we have the strength to take you down, we're justified. We'll just call you, all right, a barbarian or a savage. And now the new term is terrorist. We just call you a terrorist, and we can do what we want. As long as we can label you a terrorist, and you know, people jump behind that narrative, we can do what we want. We're right. Okay? And this is the doctrine that runs the earth. We call ourselves right if we are strong enough to get what we want. Okay? And it's just a strong bullying the weak. Okay? It says no one ever got anywhere being weak. Okay? When ultimately the strong was set up to protect the weak. Okay? When Adam was given that breath in the garden, you know, it said he was to keep the garden. Okay? Which is speaking of the earth. And he was based out of what? Israel, Jerusalem, eastward in the garden. Okay? But one of those definitions of that word keep or to watch, which is shamar, which is to protect life. Okay? So the strong, who's ever in rulership, that's why the Bible speaks heavily about the poor and the widows. Okay, because you know the leadership of society, the government of a righteous society is supposed to protect the vulnerable. Okay, these devils do the exact opposite, man. And then they play the victim. You see, these devils, they do the exact opposite, and then they turn around and play the victim. Okay, like they're just because the small has just had this running narrative that they're always under attack, and then they're always facing being exterminated, man. You know, but guess what? Hey, the Most High, He's going to make that arrangement for you, devils, man. Okay, He's going to make that arrangement. You like to play victim. You like to play like you're just always on the brink of extinction. You know, and everyone is just against you for no reason. Okay, well, the Lord's going to make that arrangement for you Edomites as a whole, including you small heads, man. There's going to come a day when the Lord is going to annihilate you Edomites, man. Okay, but they love to play and run with that narrative, like you know, every day, every small head on the planet Earth is just on the verge of extinction unless they do this attack, unless they unless they keep this war going, unless they constantly defend themselves. Okay, they're on the brink of extinction. Okay, and if a brother could post that in I want to say it's the book of Sirach, chapter 13 and 3, maybe. Yeah. If a brother can post that in Sirach 13 and 3 Bible shot. All right. But I'm gonna keep reading. So read it again. Verse 11 says, we call ourselves right if we are strong enough to get what we want. No one ever got anywhere by being weak. Righteous people are nothing but a nuance. So let's look for chances to get rid of them. They are against what we do. They accuse us of breaking the law of Moses and violating the traditions of our ancestors. And this is the prophets. You know, this goes into Psalms 2 and 1. This plays into that. And this is the mind, this is the agenda okay, of the wicked elite of Esau. They want to get away with any trace of righteousness beginning with the prophets, man, because they know it starts with the prophets. Okay, because the prophets come in the spirit of Yahweh by Shema Shai. So they say righteous people are nothing but a nuance, man, because Esau wants to he wants to establish a completely satanic Canaanite, this wicked, lewd culture, man. Like this devil, he's really about, a vile kingdom, like this digital, okay, system that this devil wants to establish and link people to his technology, man. He wants to set up a very wicked and dark demonic kingdom in the earth, man. Okay, so now we're seeing him pushing his propaganda to where they're a victim, and if you're anti-sim, okay, then they're justified to do whatever needs to be done to exterminate you, man. Okay, so they're going to constantly push this whole thing of anti-Semitism, okay, as a justification of doing away with any resistance to their wickedness, man. And it begins with the prophets. That's why I say they accuse us of breaking the law of Moses. Well, who's judging them according to the righteousness of the scriptures? Who's calling them out based on the scriptures, man? It's the prophets. Okay? It says they claim to know the Most High, and they call themselves the Lord's children. Okay? So this is speaking of the prophets who's making the claim, we are the true Israelites, man. Okay? These devils for a long time have gotten to call themselves the chosen people. Okay? And there was no one else, these devils have been able to just enjoy, being able to claim they're the chosen people, with no one challenging it. Okay, with no one challenging their life. But now the true people have been awakened, and now there's a problem because that doesn't fit into the narrative. There's no way that so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, and also, we teach about the Israelite foreigners because it's bigger than color. All right, it's not a thing about color, it's about the actual lineage. Okay, so there's no way that so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans can be the chosen people. But then you have the small hats saying they're the chosen people. See, we don't fit in their narrative, man. And they're looking for a way to be able to cut us out the movie, man, to cut us out the script. Okay, because this devil needs people to believe his deception in order for, his society to function, especially this new world order. Okay, people to buy into this new world order, man. He needs people to be deceived, confused, and deceived, man. Okay, and it says they claim to know the Most High. They call themselves the Lord's children. We can't stand the sight of people like that. What they are contradicts our whole way of thinking. You see? So this message, this word is completely against everything that this devil is trying to set up. The Lord is against this man. Okay? While scripture say, I'm against thee, O thee most proud. You see, Esau embodies everything that the Lord hates. If a brother want to post that, Proverbs 6, verses 16 and 17, Baba Shah. Okay? It says they claim to know the Most High, and they call themselves the Lord's children. Yasha Allah, He Prince of the Power. We are the sons of God, man. The true sons of God, all right, have been awakened in the earth, man. And this done shook up this devil's whole scheme, okay, and pretending to be us, because you can't be us if we us. Lord is waking us up to who we are. Then you can't be us, we us, nigga. You see? So when you keep reading, it says we can't stand the sight of people like that. What they are contradicts our whole way of thinking. They are not like other people. They have strange ways, because righteousness is strange to Esau. Show you how off the Esau is. That righteousness is strange to this nigga, man. Family, being in order. Okay, having laws, having restrictions. The Levitical diet. Okay, having a reverence to a higher power. Okay, not stealing, not adultery, not just all this lewd sexual acts and rituals. See, that's strange to Esau to operate in righteousness, man. Okay, not overindulging, moving in moderation. That's strange to this devil, man. Show you how off Esau is, man. Esau ain't right. He can never be right, and that's why the Lord just finna put this man in chains and then do away with this man. He was created with a default to show us, the sons of God, what wickedness looks like unchecked. Okay, this was a lesson for us. This was a chastising for us, and as we are understanding, like, okay, we get it. As the Lord see His sons getting it, He see His people getting it. Okay, it's like, okay, they get it. Now it's time to wrap this shit up, and this is what we see the Lord causing these events to happen according to prophecy, because the Lord finna wrap this up, man. Okay, Esau has run this course. Okay, there's nothing left for this world but for Esau to be destroyed. Okay, this kingdom to be completely broken up. You know, Esau's empire to be destroyed, the remnant of Esau to go into captivity, and these heathens to go into captivity. Okay, and Esau to be done away with, man. Okay, this is the phase we're going into now. You see, and these devils, they're trying to fight against it. They want to silence the witness, man. Because the prophets have awakened with a witness against this devil, man. Okay, and they want to kill off the witness. You see, but he doesn't have that jurisdiction. Okay, he doesn't have that say so because we have the covering of the Most High. You know, and there's going to be some. There's going to be a few believers. That the Lord allows. To be martyred for the sake of prophecy, man. But He's not going to silence the witness, man. Okay, there's a standard that's getting ready to be lifted against the devil. Okay, the devil finna go into a war in which he's going to lose twice. These heathens gonna get on his ass, and then Yahweh Shah gonna come and eradicate, Esau and the militaries of the heathen, man. So this devil was set up for failure, man. He had this time of winning, and he was prospering in his wickedness and his deception. Now he's finna fail. Now he's set up to lose, man. Okay, Esau's done winning. You see, now he's going to lose. It says they are not like other people. They have strange ways. They think our moral standards are so corrupt that everything we do should be avoided. You goddamn right. And you see what this man has done to society, because a ruler's report card is the society that he's ruling. Okay, that's a ruler's report card, not because he got satellites in space. Okay, he got trillions of dollars because he got, they're billionaires, and you see, they got these yachts and islands, and that's not the report card of a ruler. The report card of a ruler is the society, man. And this man that made society pointless, man. Okay, this man that made society completely pointless, man. So that's why you got people just checking out. Men are just walking away from society. Like, what's the point? You can't even be normal in this society, man. Okay. So everything that this man has established in this world, man, is completely wicked, is vain, is empty. Okay, it's chaotic, dysfunctional. You see, so everything this man has established, the scripture tell us to stay away from, man. It says they boast of having, all right, they boast of having the Most High for their father, and believe that when all is said and done, only the righteous will be happy, man. That's the elect, and that's part of the good news, man. The Lord's going to destroy this wicked empire, deliver the elect. We're going to be changed, get those new bodies. We're going to come out the chariots, man, and establish righteousness in the earth, man. The earth is going to go back to abundance. And Israel, the family of Israel is going to rule forever under Yahushua. Okay, so yeah, the righteous will be blessed, man. Okay, beginning with the elect of Israel, the righteous are going to be blessed forever, man. You know, and do we boast in the Heavenly Father being our power? Okay, because we boasting in wickedness. You know, niggas were boasting in the street, a color, a flag, a game. You know, niggas boasting in dumb shit. We grew up boasting in stupidity. Okay, now that we've awakened to who we are, of course we're gonna boast. Okay, in the one true power that He's our Father. You see? So when you keep reading, it says, I think that's the point. Y'all leave it there. So let's go here. Um, I want to get this video and these small hats, and they're just beginning to show who they really are. You know, because His word is getting to these devils, man. Okay, you know, and they're against these other people. You know, they're against anyone that's against them. All right, but the source of their problem or their frustration is His word. You know, that's the source of these devils. You know, frustration. Okay, so let's go here. We'll play this after we get this precept. This is the brother of Mark Cabal, Sirach 13:3. He said, "The rich man have done wrong, and yet he threatened withal. The poor is wrong, and he must entreat also." So here it is. This devil, this devil is dead in the wrong, you know, but he's pointing the finger and threatening what he's going to do next. Okay, he's telling the world about themselves, man. Here it is. This devil is dead wrong. How he runs the earth. Okay, what he's done, what he's doing, and what he's planning on doing. This man is dead to the wrong, but he's the one threatened. Okay, about him, he's the one playing the victim and threatening everyone else. All right, what he's going to do to them, man. Okay, completely wicked. So let's just listen. It's about, I think, like 15 minutes of different. It's a compilation, and it's just these small hats. Okay, pushing propaganda and showing you how they really feel. See, everything is coming out in the open. Okay, brother can post that too in Mark 4:22, Bob Kasha. Okay.
I think there's another revolution coming. I tend to steer it along with the achievement of a broader peace. When history is within reach.
So what Israel is fighting here is not merely a seven-front war, but an eight-front war. For the Jews against Rome. Rome and Jerusalem clashed over values with a great tragedy for the Jewish people. But we lost that. We have to win the next one. But the new Rome, the United States, the Jews against Rome.
We stopped playing defense.
So they're calling, right, which the new Rome is America. All right, but they're saying, the small hats, versus, America. Because they're looking at, you people in, the population of America that's calling them out is a problem. Okay, and that's why you even got Mossad. You got IDF that's in the ranks of ICE. So you have actual Israeli Defense Force soldiers that are in the ranks of ICE. Okay, and this is why it's going to be so brutal in America, because America got too much free speech and liberty. Because even in other Western nations like the UK, I believe like 20,000 people have been arrested, so far for things that they posted online. All right, if a brother want to fact check that, I might look at it real quick. Okay, but I think in UK, close to 20,000 people have been arrested for what they're saying online because they're cracking down on any narrative that's against these small hats, man. Okay, because the small hats are at the top, okay, of the list of this wicked agenda. They're the ones in control of the wicked agenda that controls the earth. Okay, so calling them out is becoming a global crime. And he's telling you, look, we got to open up another front on this war, and it's the war on information. It's the war on reality. All right, they just took over TikTok. Okay, so these devils, they're getting ready to go all out. Okay, to silence a narrative that speaks against them, you know.
Have moved to offense.
The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well.
But we need the kind of genius that manufactured Apollo gold pagers and infiltrated Hezbollah for over a decade to prepare for this battle.
But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media.
Because the next war will be decided based on how Israel and its allies perform online as much as offline.
This is the eighth front, the disinformation campaign.
It is actually this eighth front where our enemies believe they can actually defeat the Jewish state.
This is the kind of ingenuity and inventiveness that have always been a hallmark of the state of Israel, that have always been a characteristic of the Jewish people. I know we can do it.
A lot of this is done with money.
Invested billions and billions of dollars in the information battlefield.
Money of NGOs, vast. Money of governments, vaster.
We prohibit harmful stereotypes about Jewish people, such as claims that Jews control financial, political, or media institutions.
You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them.
We monitor them online, social media, messaging apps, video games, cryptocurrency,
Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters,
podcasts, short form video, Wikipedia, LLM.
American haters, Churchill haters.
We monitor these people and we share the intelligence with the FBI.
You think your stupid little podcast is going to change the world like hell it is?
Social media, this is the new battlefield.
You don't get to wrap your psychotic, mental, unhinged Nazi.
We do not allow Holocaust denial and distortion.
And the most important purchase that is going on right now is
TikTok.
TikTok. TikTok. Number one.
For every 30 minutes this talk, they become 17% more anti-Semitic.
So you have TikTok just smashing our young people's brains all day long with video of carnage in Gaza. We really have a TikTok problem. Because anything that we try to say to them, they are hearing it through this wall of carnage, and I sound obscene.
Anti-Zionism is just Jew hatred. We made a change.
We updated our policies
to designate the use of the term Zionist
to recognize that the term Zionist
as a proxy for a protected attribute
can be used as a proxy for Jews and Israelis.
As hate speech.
Why can't Israel be doing some sort of, counterintelligence?
Right now, the ADL is co-writing Sunday school curriculum.
Information warfare like this.
It's building the technology to train the LLMs more effectively.
Like psychological operations in America.
And he said they're co-writing, Sunday school curriculum. Okay, you had those, I think it was 1,000, pastors, that went over to Israel to be, all right, indoctrinated in pro small hat, all right, rhetoric. Okay, people are being paid, to post pro small hat rhetoric on social media. Okay. So these devils, they're catching hell with trying to get a hold to this to the rhetoric. A brother can post that as well. What's that? 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 in the NLT Bible Kashaf. Okay. So this the brother, all right, Israelite seeking righteousness, Mark 4:22. It said, there is nothing hid which shall not be manifest, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. Okay. So everything is out in the open, and these small hats, they're trying to put the cat back in the bag, put the bottle back on the top. It's out. And you devils, you're just chasing your tail and you about to be destroyed because you got bigger situations than trying to control the media. That's out. That's already out. It's over. The Lord is causing this to happen. You see, you can't undo the will of the Lord. You can't reverse the will of the Lord. All right. You small hats, you need all your energy for Iran. Okay. And you worry about TikTok, you need to be worried about Tehran. Okay. That should be your priority. You should be training around the clock. All right, because you got your work cut out. So the Lord, has put a spirit of exposure in the earth, okay, and these devils can't shake it, okay, and the lies that they, been able to operate under are now being destroyed. So now they don't have these coverings, they don't have these lies, all right, that they used to operate under anymore, okay. So let's this brother Mar, all right, Cabal, it's on 2 Corinthians 10:4 in the NLT. It says, we use the Most High's mighty weapons, not worldly ones, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. Okay? And to destroy false arguments, man. So through this word, there's a lot of false arguments that have been destroyed. All right? And Esau needs these narratives to operate, man. That's why he wants to crack down and censor, okay, information. And he wants to do it violently. These small hats, they want to do it violently. Okay? So the brother posted this as well, Israelites seeking righteousness, said, yes, people are being arrested in the UK for action interpreted as illegal speech, primarily under the Communication Act of 2003, Malicious Communication Acts of 1988, and the Online Safety Act of 2023. And I believe in 2023, they arrested thousands of people, for things posted on the internet. All right. And they want to bring that to America, man. And the brother made a beautiful point. The elder Raquel Kwan, he's out there in the UK. And he said, like with China and India, it's easier for them to set up the New World infrastructure out there because they didn't have a lot of infrastructure anyway, so it was easy for them to build a New World Order infrastructure from scratch. See, with America, they got to tear a lot of things down, as far as, laws and, rights and liberties. China and India didn't have all them laws and rights. Okay. So it's easy for them to throw up that infrastructure and establish, social credit system in China because they didn't have to undo a lot of things. Okay. That was in China and India. But see, in America, they got to undo so much to start to really roll out this infrastructure, okay, and roll out, new legislations, and okay. So America has to go through a demolition phase, okay. So this is what we're seeing now. They begin to tear down the Constitution, okay, and one of the main things they wanted to tear down is their freedom of speech, okay. So let's let it play some more.
As part of a robust framework to combat anti-Semitism, we have industry-leading policies designed with the safety of the Jewish community in mind.
You're right, we control the media. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to bitch on Twitter? Like, okay. Meanwhile, we're going to control more of the media.
And working with OpenAI, with Alphabet, with Anthropic, with Meta, with Microsoft, we are working with them now to train the LLMs.
We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly.
Yeah, and he said to train the LLM, and that's the language learning models for the AI. And that's why you notice on chat, that the chat response is more biased now, towards the small hats. Okay, it's more biased and small hat friendly when you go into the AI. So the LLM is the language learning models. So they're, modifying the way that the AI learns to be small hat friendly. Okay. So these devils, they've been seeing the videos and the information that's been coming out, and brothers going into chat. You best believe these small hats are like, damn, So they're dealing with these tech companies now, all right, to modify these LLMs, these language learning models, to be biased to the small hats, man.
Feeding us intelligence and information.
So number one, we measure and track. Number two, we monitor and disrupt. We have a whole apparatus. I have 40 analysts working full time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, monitoring extremists.
Monitoring campuses, digital networks, activist groups, and public officials.
We have several PhDs on staff. We have a network of academics and scholars we work with around the country.
I've talked to the leaders of AI in the world. You ask yourself, there's so many blessings in this, but there could be a curse.
First thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model.
We need to invest in intelligence to understand who are the anti-Semites, who's funding them, what's their plan, who are the leaders. And then once we have that, we can define who is an enemy we can attack.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it. First, go
to understand who are the anti-Semites, who's funding them, what's their plan, who are the leaders. And then once we have that, we can define who is an enemy we can attack.
And once we identify them, once we recognize them, then we see who we can attack. Okay? So these devils are just putting people in categories, man. That's why Church calling what the accuser of the brethren is cast down. Okay? So they say, look, we just need to identify them, label them, and then we can know who we can attack.
You have genomic data. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform.
Once we have all this information, we need to empower and mobilize an ecosystem of many organizations that we can incentivize them to work together, to share, and to fight against our common enemies.
Mobilizing millions of people, of allies that are quietly by our side.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
You know, anti-Semites, most of these people running around, we're not going to win their hearts and minds because they don't have hearts and they don't have minds. So, you know, how are we going to, there's no reason to think we're ever going to convince them, but we can deport them, we can put them in jail, we can make their lives miserable, we can cut off their funding.
You've got all these conspiracy theorists online going on and on about how, you know, if you try and say anything, if you try to do anything against Jews, they're going to come after you.
We have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites.
And they're going to destroy you and take away your business, and therefore you have to be really, really scared.
These Jew haters have faced real consequences, including firings, suspensions, and expulsions.
And it's kind of starting to become true.
We will shine a light on you that will follow you for the rest of your life. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything.
And I love that. I love it.
We remove hate speech against Zionists when these harmful stereotypes about Jews are invoked.
In the past 12 months, ADOS filed more lawsuits than in the prior 112 years.
Over the weekend, I received concerning news that I was being sued for $5 million.
Vicious, communist, racist, Jew-hating, Israel-bashing monster.
Defendant frequently posts anti-Israel rhetoric accusing Israel of controlling the United States and its politicians.
We at the ZOA will fight these dangerous and monstrous lies with all of our hearts and souls. No appeasement, no conciliation, only a war against this racist hatred of the Jewish people.
When there is a war, it doesn't matter who your enemy is. You need to destroy their offspring to prevent them from creating more offspring.
What you try to do is you want to corral your victim, but in fact, your countries are the victim. So you dehumanize a group of people in human society, and you prepare them for the kill, for the butchery.
You dehumanize the people in the society, and you prepare them for a kill or butchering. All right, and then what the little chicks say? You kill their offspring, so they, you know, genocide. You see, the Amalek, you know, is the worst of the worst, man. All right, Amalek is worse than these Edomites in the south. Okay, you got, you know, your Starbucks, you know, dog walking Edomite, you know, and you got your Edomites in the south Okay, but then you got Amalek is a whole nother level of wicked, man. They're all wicked, and they're all right, are getting ready to be slaughtered. And the remnant, the survivors of the slaughter, are going to captivity, man, for 1,000 years, and they out of there, man. Okay, well, this is the wicked minds that run the earth, and they're telling you how they feel. They're proud. They're stepping into their wickedness now, and they're boasting in it. You know, but that's great because we know pride goes before destruction. Okay, was Proverbs 16-18. My brother want to post that, so let's play this.
A government can do in 2 months more than any organization can do in its life.
J7 is comprised of staff for communities. We meet every other week via Zoom to share information, to share best practices.
And we're running everything all the time from focus groups to attitudinal surveys to like randomized controlled trials to identify what interventions work most effectively.
Finally, we have meetings that are some off the record, some on the record with world leaders in which we share our community's concerns and call for action.
The entire education system in this country, from K through 12 in colleges, must be reformed.
But it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it.
The way we solve anti-Semitism is pretty goddamn simple.
Take control over what they are saying.
Send their ass to jail. It's not complicated.
And quickly before it's too late.
We're monitoring political Islamists and Christian nationalists, all of them. And then we train. We're the largest trainer of law enforcement in America, extremism hate. We train 20,000 officers every year.
Try that again.
Here because there's comments made online about the Jewish community.
We deeply value our partnership with law enforcement. We've been working with them literally since the FBI was founded in the 1930s.
Is that your account?
That guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians. That kind of poverty incites somebody to do something radical. That's all we're here to talk about. I would think to refrain from posting things like that.
We are going to have a whole division within the office of the Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism that is going to work on technology.
We must take all of our technological expertise and all of our available resources to develop methods to launch and win a significant counter-information campaign.
The products of our technical capacities and sometimes technical and intelligence genius. And we're happy to do it.
The office is going to be revamped entirely to be one of the highest profile offices in the State Department.
Because it's not working. Too many young people have never heard of the Holocaust.
The only solution right now is for the governments to decide that all the Jews are a protected minority. That means that the government will be obliged to provide the security.
Upgrades to security. Jewish community shouldn't have to be paying for it. But we have to pay for our own armed guards? Are you serious?
To fund the institutions, culture, and that everybody in Europe will learn about the Jewish contribution and why they should cherish Jewish presence.
All your synagogues, all your shul, all paid for. Everything that you need is paid for. I, for one, as a Jewish leader, will no longer talk about anti-Semitism in isolation from Israel. It's what we want immediately. If you ask any Jew, what do you want? What do you want? No more protests. No more protests.
I'm not an anti-Semite. I just don't like the government of Bibi Netanyahu. No, you're a Jew hater.
Would a group be banned if it accuses Israel of genocide or apartheid?
If those criteria are satisfied, then that is the case.
Any candidate running for a seat in this building, whether for Congress or Senate, we will target them as they target us. Accordingly, we will start a fund to help their opponents.
Beginning already in Q1, hedge funds get set up in Israel so we can become another capital of finance. I'll argue we will beat London within a short decade as the second capital of finance. It's going to be New York as a gateway to America, Hong Kong a gateway to China, Dubai a gateway to Southeast Asia, and Israel as a gateway to other parts of the world.
So we heard earlier about a mission, a goal to bring 1 million immigrants to Israel.
History has proven that when a country starts with allowing anti-Semitism, the results are not kind to that country.
I want to make a warning to somebody else, and that's American Gentiles. The minute your country is taken over by anti-Semitism, the minute you start to be a country that's not blessing Israel but cursing Israel, you have begun the process of shrinking and away from your empire.
And you can decide, you can stay here in New York in a declining empire, or you can come to Israel, which is part of the rising middle of the world, which is moving south and east. That's what I encourage you to do.
Our faith in the American project itself has been shaken. The only serious answer to this challenge is to believe again that being Jewish is the most important thing in the world.
When we're kicked out of America and America, the whole thing is done, the whole American Jewish project is done, we're gonna be fine.
For decades, American society.
He said when the whole American project is done, okay, and they're done with the American project, and that's why they need America to crash out, all right, one last time for them and go to war with Iran, okay? As the scriptures say, the least of the flock gonna draw them out, and then they call the American Gentiles. These goddamn devils, man. Okay, and you American people, you American Edomites are finna lose. You've been the biggest supporters of these small hats. Okay, but because there's been an influx, all right, in what they call anti-Semitism speech, okay, that's come from American social media. Now, all right, they're turning, okay, they're turning their hatred towards you. Okay, that's why the American population finna feel it, man, because they say, look, the American project is done. Okay, America was the motherland of wickedness in the earth. You can do wickedness in America that you couldn't do anywhere else. They made it a culture. Okay, and now America enjoys too much privilege and liberty. All right, and they need America to be weakened. And that's why that's another reason they want you to go crash out, America to go crash out and go to war with Iran. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to play that. There's like a few minutes left, but just about the gist of it. All right, that these small hats, they're done being politically correct. All right, and they want, and this another thing with this AI, they want to use AI to gather all small hat rhetoric, and they want to punish it, man. And that's why they had IDF mingled in ICE, getting them familiar, okay, with the American population, man. You see, so the same, all right, wickedness you see them doing, okay, on the Palestinians, well, they finna bring it to America, all right, to the American population. You see, showing that these Edomites are divided on all sides, man. Okay, the small hats against the American Edomites, the least divided. The EU divided America. Within America's division, the left and the right, man, they're just divided everywhere, man. Okay, and we know what the scriptures say about a house divided. So let's go here, man. And the devil, he's finna blame, accuse, okay, and then they all finna crash out, because the small hands, when they get America to crash out with Iran, which is going to draw in Russia and China, they're going to lose as well. Okay, it's going to go bad for them. Okay, so it's beautiful how the Lord just got these devils just set up for failure, man. Let's read this and get a few precepts. This is Mark 3 and 23 says, and he called unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house, all right, be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And the house of Esau is divided. All right, it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to watch these devils, squirm and, they're wearied in their counsel. Okay, they uncomfortable. Okay, it's beautiful that the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai got these devils, all right, finicky out here, man. Okay, uncomfortable, wearied in this counsel. Okay, nigga trying to put the lid back on, but he can't. All right, he's divided, and what he's finna resort to is the sword. All right, he's from the blame, and then he's gonna come with the sword. Okay, it says, and if Satan rise against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. All right, and we in the end of Esau, Edom, which is all right, the people of Satan. Esau is the nation of Satan. You know, Esau is Satan's nation in the earth, man, functioning and operating. Okay, but we're in the time where we're about to see the overthrow. Okay, the Lord's finna end this man. All right, and that's why we see this man divided. Okay, instead he got so much going on at once. You know, it's like the devil don't know what to tackle first. Okay, and the Lord got the devil like this, man, spread out all over the place. Okay, this is Psalm 73:18. It says, "Surely thou didst set them in slippery places." Okay, this man is in slippery places, man. You see, he's having a hard time, pulling this off. Okay, and he got so much going on at one time. You know, he got to try to censor the internet. You know, he got to try to change over the money, collapse the dollar. You know, he has to wage a war. You see, he needs civil unrest. You know, so he needs a lot. You know, he's still putting up the infrastructure. He kept, the data center. All right, these data centers are catching a lot of kickback. Okay, the digital ID is catching a lot of kickback. You know, so the devil, he's in a slippery place, man. You know, he's set up for complete failure. And it was like that from the beginning. It says, surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors, man. This man's about to be judged. You know, so while he's pointing the finger, okay, while this devil is pointing the finger and saying what he's going to do next, nigga, you finna be judged. That's what's finna be next. Okay, that's the next stop for you, is you finna be judged, man. Okay, so let's get this. We'll close it out here. All right. This is the brother Amar Cabal, Proverbs 16:18 said, pride. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. You know, so this devil is at the peak of his pride. You know, they're proud that they run the earth. They're boasting in running the earth now. They're boasting in having control over the media now. They're boasting that, look, we'll ruin your life if you speak against us. They're boasting in these things now, man. You know, and the Lord said, what pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit. So it's beautiful that Esau's in the haughty spirit, because we know he's at his fall. He's in that slippery place, man. You know, and this thing is going to go quick for Esau. The Lord going to overwhelm Esau, with prophecy when this devil makes this MOT mandatory, man. You know, and it's getting to that point, you see, because he's going to have to move faster. He's going to have to skip some steps, okay, in his agenda to get to where he really want to be, man. You know, so the Lord got this man fast tracking. All right, but he's fast tracking to his own fall. Okay, there's no good news for you Edomites, man. It only gets worse. Okay, a TikTok post is gonna be your least worry in the time to come. Okay, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the whole for the Shalom.